Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bailey Stober, Communications Manager for the City of Kent. For your background, the property we will be discussing today is the Econo Lodge located at 1233 Central Avenue North. I'll cover your order of events for today. First, you will hear from Mayor Dana Ralph. Then you will hear from Puget Sound Fire Chief Matt Morris. Following Chief Morris will be Kent Police Chief Rafael Padilla. Finally, you will hear from Kent City Council Member Bill Boyce. Also on hand, but not directly speaking, is City Attorney Pat Fitzpatrick. After we conclude their speeches, we will have a media availability for anybody that has questions of the speakers. Following that, we can set up one-on-one interviews for anybody who would like to interview them separately and privately. And with that, I give you Kent Mayor Dana Ralph.
Good afternoon. We are here today with an important announcement regarding the coronavirus and King County's current plan for a quarantine facility. Late Monday, we were contacted through a third party who let us know that the county planned to open a quarantine facility here in Kent. At no point in their process did the county notify us of this plan. We later found out that King County Public Health has been looking at this site for months with the intent of using it for public health purposes, including homelessness, and as a site for quarantines for other dangerous communicable diseases. We are concerned the coronavirus is simply a pretext for the siting of a long-term facility, quarantine facility here in Kent. According to the information we received today, the county plans to move patients into this facility within the next 9 to 10 days, but still have not inquired with the city about permits or occupancy of this building. We are very concerned about the public health and safety implications this has for our community. They are replicating and bringing a situation similar in scale to the Life Care Center of Kirkland and dropping it off in the middle of Kent. We've confirmed there is nothing requiring a patient to stay at this facility. They have the ability to leave and impact neighboring residents and businesses, including neighboring hotels, Bowen Scarf Ford, Carpenito Brothers, 7-Eleven, and Kent Bowl. We understand that we all play a role in the response to the coronavirus, each and every city in this county. And we want the county's response to this crisis to be successful. But we are extremely concerned about the lack of a concrete plan to activate and utilize this site. We have asked numerous questions that they do not have answers for. This has not been a transparent process. Our request and expectation is that the county will put this property back on the real estate market as soon as this crisis is over, and they will not use it for a permanent site for any other activity. We are also very disappointed because this location is in the middle of one of our main gateways into the city of Kent. We have invested millions in public dollars into infrastructure around this location, and now visitors and residents will be greeted by a public health quarantine facility. Lastly, we firmly believe this is an equity issue. The county intends to bring sick people from wealthier and less diverse communities and drop them off in Kent without regard for our community or the people in it. I want to let our residents know if they have any questions or concerns about this quarantine facility or the coronavirus in general, that they should contact King County Public Health at 206-477-3977. At this point, I will turn it over to Chief Morris of the Puget Sound Fire Authority.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. The purpose of the Puget Sound Regional Fire Authority is to provide compassionate and professional care to the citizens of our communities. The men and women of the RFA, the Regional Fire Authority, are trained and equipped to respond to the needs of the community. We provide exceptional service because of our ability to understand and plan for the risks in our communities. This proposed facility is located in the busiest and most densely populated service area for the City of Kent. The substantial lack of information regarding the logistics and daily operation of this facility prevents us as an RFA from determining the level of community risk it presents. It is extremely difficult to prepare and develop a response plan without more information. Based on what we have been told on how this facility will be utilized, the risk to the community could be very significant. If this risk is accurate, it will definitely challenge our ability as a fire service and EMS to provide the level of service our community demands with our current resources. At this point, I'd like to introduce Police Chief Rafael Padilla.
Thank you, Chief Morris. Good afternoon. I want to start by making it crystal clear that the emergency responders, police, fire, and EMS stand ready to continue to keep our community safe as we deal with the outbreak of coronavirus. The women and men in these professions will come through as they always have. I took an oath to protect our community, which is why I cannot support this ill-advised and dangerous plan by King County. In speaking with King County officials, we have learned the following that gives us great concern for public safety. First, this will be a voluntary intake facility, which means that those being quarantined can come and go as they please. Under the current situation, we will have zero authority to physically keep people from leaving. What this means is that at any point, a patient could simply walk into our community and spread the virus. This should be cause for great concern unless King County health officials can confirm that they have security protocols in place that include a means to physically restrain infected patients if needed. And if they can't, they should rethink their plan. Second, this will not be a secure location, and there are no specific plans as to whether or not this will be a safe and sober location. A failure to ensure that there is a prohibition on the use of illegal narcotics, alcohol, or other illegal activity as a condition of intake will certainly invite a criminal element to our city. Our city did not ask for this, and we do not deserve this. Lastly, there are no clear plans on how the impact on emergency services will be addressed. As the coronavirus continues to spread, it will put increasingly more demands on resources. These resources are already taxed, and the added drain will hamper our ability to protect the rest of the community. I'd like to call upon City Council Member Bill Boyce.
Good afternoon. As a City Council member representing this community and these residents, I am deeply disappointed in the action by the county. Kent is one of the most diverse communities in the United States, and we are not seeing the strong economic growth as in Seattle and the East Side. This only crippled our growth and development even more. It feels wrong to me that the county will put the only large permanent site not next to the majority of the coronavirus outbreak, but instead they're putting it in the heart of one of the most diverse community and shipping patients to Kent without any regards to our community. We expect the county to serve all residents, including the resident of Kent. Thank you.
At this point, we'll do media avail questions. If you have questions for any of the speakers.
I do a one-on-one.
Okay.
Does the city have any real recourse in combating the county's plans? Can the city do anything?
At this point, it does not appear that we have any recourse, and I do want to make it very clear that we were not involved in this, but it's here, and we are going to do everything we can to make it as safe for our community. Our request is more centered around the long-term plans for this facility. That is not acceptable, and we're demanding that the county not continue to use this as a quarantine facility going forward.
So it sounds like Kent is okay with the coronavirus part of it if the county takes certain measures to secure it, but long-term there are other concerns?
I think okay might be a strong word. We're going to do the best we can to mitigate for a plan that we were not a part of or involved in. We do understand that we all share a role in keeping the county safe and the region safe. But we have concerns both about the lack of the communicated plan to us, and we have been attempting to track that down and get answers to questions since we found out about this yesterday. But we do have even more significant concerns about the long-term impacts that a facility like this would have being situated at a gateway into our city, the surrounding businesses, and the fact that we are investing millions of dollars in improving this area and trying to bring economic vitality to it.
Just to confirm, there's no case here in Kent?
We have not received any information from public health that there is a case in Kent.
Have you been involved with the county from the beginning? Would the response be different?
It would have certainly made it better for us to plan. had they given us a heads up that this was happening or this was a potential, it would have made it easier for our emergency services, for our human services department, economic development, as far as permitting and all those things. Had they given us a heads up, it would have made this maybe an easier, no pun intended, easier pill to swallow.
Are there other locations in Kent that are better than this, or is this more about not being in the loop?
So it's all of the above. So it's our understanding that they're choosing this facility because it is a permanent structure, and so then we have concerns about the permanency of the facility outside of the coronavirus response. And it honestly is, when you get off of Highway 167, this is where you end up. So it is at a major gateway into our community with long-standing family businesses located around it, as well as residences and other hotels and restaurants.
Since learning about this, have you all been in contact with anyone from the county, Dow Constantine, the public health department?
So when we heard this, I did contact the executive's office and we set up a phone conversation for yesterday. That was our first formal contact with them around this. We provided a list of questions, had another phone conversation today, and I don't think it's unfair to say that the majority of our questions remain unanswered.
But in all effective purposes, you're powerless to stop this.
This is something that's being done to the city of Kent at this point.
Did the county present to you whatsoever the logic behind their decision on their choice of this site? Did they attempt to sell it to you saying it's a good site because of this business?
They said the criteria for the site, and this is where we learned about the longer term plan, that for months now they've been researching locations like hotels that are that 70s style hotel motel with the exterior doors, and it has something to do with the HVAC system as well. And that's what they told us was the reasoning for it.
You believe this is an abuse of the executive power of emergency that Dow Constantine has exercised?
There is concern that this is a pretext for a longer term plan. Given the fact that this site had been under consideration for several months prior to the coronavirus, we do believe that there is a longer term plan, and when the coronavirus presented itself, it became an opportunity to look at implementing that longer range vision that the county may have.
Just to reconfirm, you all received notice late Monday night and then began conversations with the county yesterday?
Late Monday afternoon, we heard through a third party that the Kent Econo Lodge was the location that had been announced as the motel being purchased by the county. So I did reach out to the executive late Monday afternoon. He did confirm that it was the Kent location and then offered to set up a meeting on Tuesday.
Understood, thank you.
Have you talked to the neighboring businesses, and what's the plan to reach out to them?
So twofold communication strategy. One of the things we asked the county to do, and this was something they did not have in place, was outreach to surrounding businesses, because the last thing that any business owner wants to do is hear on a press conference that they are now being sited next to a quarantine facility. So I have started making phone calls. I have made contact with Mark Scarf from Bowen Scarf Ford. He is absolutely concerned. This very positively could have an impact on his business. As all the surrounding businesses. So we have also talked to the county and requested some additional conversations on mitigation for the impacts of siting this in this very densely populated location.
And has the sale been finalized? Has everything been?
It is our understanding that it is all, to quote the executive on Monday, it's all but a done deal. We are not privy to those real estate transactions, but it is our understanding that they are going forward with this.
Have you been told specifically who will be arriving at that moment?
So we've been asking that question since our first conversation, and the answers are sort of all over the board. They've talked about quarantining people that have had exposure but are not necessarily symptomatic. Also, people that are symptomatic but not sick enough to be in a hospital. We have been given examples of everything from our homeless population through college students or travelers. So not really able to pin down where they will be coming from. Or the process. We've been told public health will do some sort of intake process, but again, we've got no specifics on that, and are concerned about things like if it is the homeless community, then what services are provided beyond that. There's just a whole lot of questions that we have that we've not been able to get answers to.
And the chief said that there was a concern because this is a voluntary facility.
That is correct.
Does that kind of go against the common knowledge of what a quarantine is all about?
So our concern is exactly that. We've asked this question several times. From what we understand, the patients in this facility will be there under order of the public health official, but there's nothing in place that they can force people to stay there. They can ask it, they can require it. We've been told that there's a possibility of on-site unarmed security and that they will be looking at putting up fencing, but it's also our understanding that should someone decide they want to leave, there's nothing that forces them to stay there.
Well, once they're on public property like a sidewalk, couldn't the city can't therefore control the situation at that point as who may go in and who may not?
I am going to turn that question over to the chief. I do not have the answer to that specifically.
I am unaware of any legal authority whatsoever to detain someone because they may be infected with coronavirus or any infectious disease. I am unaware of what the emergency protocols are at the state level, but we do know as of at this point there has not been a declaration of a state emergency, so any of those laws or rules are not in effect here.
So what is the best case scenario moving forward? Where are you hoping for?
Moving forward, we are hoping for a more concrete plan coming out of public health that protects both the patients that have been exposed or have contracted the coronavirus. That's obviously the first and foremost. And then equally important, we need a protection of our community. And part of our concern and frustration with this is that we are not clear that that plan exists. And then again, we have concerns about the long-term use of that facility. So to make it very clear, this is not a matter of Kent saying that we do not play a role in the containment of this virus. That is absolutely not the case here. We're concerned about the choice of the location, the lack of communication, and honestly, the lack of what we've been able to determine is a plan for making sure that this facility is safe. Any other questions?
Any other questions, and we'll do the one-on-ones. All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Kent safe. Kent. In 2019, we got a lot of great things done. In 2020, we're going to roll up our sleeves and continue delivering results that improve your quality of life. The best is yet to come. We are Kent.